What's up, y'all? It's Henry from the PSI Defense Channel coming to you with another video. Just decided I'd get back to my roots a little bit with a modification video. I do have some new projects coming down the pike. I've got a CQMF build for one of my loyal customers. I've got some HDR videos finally. I got some really great modified parts and barrels for some HD 50s, HD 68s. I'll be doing a few videos for that, dip my toes in those waters, see how I'm feeling. But as you guys can see right here, I have the CQMF out today. Wonderful launcher, military and police use. It's not illegal to purchase them. They just were specifically sold to military and police. Factory, there are 36 joules and one of the only less lethal launchers to have confirmed lethal results as far as use in the field. And that says a lot, being that these are limited to 36 joules. They have a proprietary ammunition that's made by FN company, and it has a metal bismuth powder payload that explodes on the target and spreads out the impact over a large surface area, and it was designed for pain compliance. And they have different payloads in the back. Some have marking dye, some have permanent marking dye, some have irritants, and then there's also an inert round. And I'm selling this FN303 on the website, and it does have a selection of that ammunition as well as these stainless steel 68 caliber rounds. Now, I found with the FN303, I'm not going to promote the company because I found them to be less than reputable as far as in a lot of different ways. But you guys remember this. This was the original version of that stainless steel ammunition. There's a secondary version. It jams in this, which is interesting, because what makes it so great is that it's less prone to jams than our beloved First Strike models, because the breech of each of these launchers is actually in the magazine. Straight through design, the bolt goes straight through here, it blows the puff of air, and it sends your projectile down the barrel. I had tried a while back to replace this tank with carbon fiber unit, maybe to get more air. But one of the problems I ran into is this has a dual regulator system. There is regulation on the tank. It's 22 or 24 CI, and it outputs 3,000 PSI. There's also a regulator in the back of this launcher. Let's see if I can get it apart. Yep, it's actually an additional regulator. There are Belleville washers inside of here and tiny ones inside of here. Belleville washers are those scalloped washers that are stacked up inside of tanks like Ninja tanks, like HK Army tanks and things like that don't use a spring and shim system. So that's what these use. Plenty of air here to get through about 3 magazines. Plenty of power at 36 joules. I have this one, I believe, modified to, I think it's 42 or 45 joules. After I do this modification and then the Loctite dries, I will be doing some test firing, which will probably be tomorrow. But for Loctite, you always want to use the 271. If you can find a large one like this, if you do a lot, I definitely highly recommend getting this. And here is my slide check that I use in my slide check 2.0 system for my top tank launchers. One of the drawbacks of the FN303 is here's where you air it up through this valve here, where once you twist it, it pressurizes the system. And the only way to depressurize this system is to dry fire it a few times, and then it will depressure the system. What I like about my slide check that I use on a lot of my First Strike builds and my top tank builds is that you can depressurize it just by sliding that forward. The problem is these have to go on a certain way. See, there's these little holes which allows it to release the pressure. There's O-rings inside of this collar. So once you do that, then it seals those holes, and then there's air passage straight through both ways. But once you relieve that, it switches to another set of valves where it's shut off, and these holes here release the pressure coming from this side. So it would be lovely, because this is just a Foster fitting that they use, if I could just simply attach it like this, thread this on, and then be done with it. Problem is that if I did that, and when I gas the system, instead of depressurizing the heat core and firing bolt, it would depressurize the entire tank because the holes are on this side. So what I have to do, which is also what I have to do with my top tank system, is invert it 180 degrees. So I have a few goodies that I usually use for that. So essentially what it looks like I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to remove the Foster fitting from the hose. Then I'll have to thread this female connector, this male connector, here to the end of the hose. That will go into this, and then thread this with this male to male on this side. Yep. And that'll get the job done. Yep. That's what it looks like I'll be doing. I had this nipple. I'm glad I don't have to use it because I would have had to clean this Loctite off of it. So don't want to bother with that this evening. But what I will have to do is bother with this. So this has some kind of thread sealer from FN303 when they assembled this. So got my good old torch. Got one crescent wrench. Looks like I'm gonna have to find another one, so hold tight, you guys. Okay, got a second crescent wrench, and so now I am going to heat this up. Don't really have to disconnect it from this side, but what you do want to be careful of is whenever you're heating these type of fittings, bear in mind that there is a rubber hose inside of here, so you don't want to get it glowing hot, like stupid crazy hot. I'm going to get it hot enough, and then you have O-rings inside of here, and you have springs and stuff, so you don't want to go nuts, all right? But what I'm going to do, I'm going to heat it up. Usually what I look for Loctite is when I start to see it get liquid again. And I'm aiming my fire at the heaviest metal part, which can absorb the most heat. Go ahead and lock this. Concentrating on this big nut part here because it will wick up the most heat. Be able to disperse it a little better. Because I'm not trying to do this fast. With less lethal, you don't want to do this fast, because doing things fast is going to ruin your stuff. If you're working on an FN303, good luck finding parts. Even sometimes with FSCs, sometimes Pepperball and First Strike, they will not have parts available as well. Everybody on in the less lethal community selling parts doesn't always have great parts. Anybody can go on AliExpress and purchase springs the same size and say, hey, I've got some FSC VKS springs, but they won't be what you need to have on there. Okay, so I'm going to just try that right there. There we go. Yep, it's loose. Okay, and I'm going to set that right there. It's very hot. Let this cool off because I have to clean these threads. I was looking for my brass wire brush, but I can't find it. So I'll use this pick and pick all that out of there. Meticulously pick all that out of there. Okay. Found my last one. This is a just a 1/8 inch MIP nipple. All right, so simply what this does is going to thread in here. No. It's going to thread in here and allow me to join to this side. Perfect. So that way, goes on like this, and then the side with the bolt system is going to be what gets pressure released, and then it'll have to go like here. So that's when I will need this to plug in there. All right, simple enough. Now what I'll do is Loctite this. I typically will put like not a whole bunch, but you gotta remember that this creates an airtight seal in your threads. So what I've simply done, I don't know, did about 5 threads, a little bit of blob there. You don't want to go crazy, but you also want it to be nice and sealed. Oh, shoot. Okay, so clean up any excess. You definitely do not want that gunking up your slide check. Okay, you don't want to apply any kind of pliers or anything to the threads. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Boom. And then screw that on. Then gonna take my crescent wrenches. Tighten it down as far as it'll go comfortably. That way I know both ends are seated. Okay, don't need to go crazy. But there we have it. Clean up this excess. Yeah, it's okay if you see a little bit of red where the two surfaces match up. That's fine because that's going to be part of your seal. But you don't want a whole lot of excess dripping around, especially your moving parts with your bearings and with your O-rings and such. It's just not going to be good at all. All right. Set this aside. Now, one more part I'm gonna have to do now. I've got to clean this. I'm gonna make sure that there's no mechanical openings here, air chambers, but I'm just gonna make sure that this thread locker that I clean off of here is not gonna fall into anything vital. But an ounce of prevention when you're doing less lethal goes a long way. Okay, there's still a little bit of the residue of the thread locker that they used on here, but it's not caked on. It's not really deep into the thread, so I think I'm comfortable with proceeding at this point. Would be best to get a brass bristle brush in there, but like I said, I have no idea where mine is. So I am going to thread Loctite the top few threads here. Just pull out a whole bunch of excess. Not going to say less is more, but enough is enough. Don't do too much. You need enough to make a good seal. Just don't go crazy. Okay, there we go. All right, and there we go. FN303 PSI edition, the slide check 2.0 system. Now, of course, I have to let that Loctite dry for 24 hours. I highly recommend you follow that 24-hour guideline so that you do not risk. Because what can happen is, if it's wet at all, once this high pressure starts going through here, it can blow all your Loctite out and then you have to start over again. So, all right, that's going to be it for this video. Part 2 of this video is going to be some testing. And then I'll show you guys what you do after this Loctite dries. What you got to do is get you a spray bottle with some water, a little bit of soap. You don't want the water to be super soapy, but a little bit of soap. You air it up, spray water. If you see bubbles anywhere, then that's when you know that you have got a leak. If you do everything properly, you shouldn't have any issues. And this bad buddy is going to be pretty sweet. So what I'll end up doing is I'll just probably leave this original valve open at all times, and you could just air it up right there. It's going to be, that's going to be open if you need to air it. And once you're done, push that forward and it degasses the system, which is what you want. You don't want a launcher sitting gassed up in the heat core at all times. Again, this one has one of my favorite old school reflex sights. Needs new batteries, but one of my favorite old school reflex sights. It has red or green. This is brightness control, and it has 4 selectable reticles. It's got this really great steel hood that protects it quite well. Very bright, very easy to get your sight picture. Yeah, it's good to go. This is definitely going to be a great modification there. Other thing that I've done is put this grip sleeve here. Does have these 2 holes, so I'll be selling it with the bracket that you guys saw in the video. Stay ready, I believe. stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's it for this video. Just stay tuned for part 2, where I'll be making sure it doesn't have any air leaks, and then I will be showing you how to operate it, and I'll do some chrono testing with some different types of ammo. But all right, guys, this is Henry signing out. Like always, thank you for continuing to support the channel. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done that already. It's a free way to support the PSI Defense channel. Lets me know that you guys are still interested in my content. And until next video, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace out.